For those of you that don't know me, my name's Nan. I'm the founder of Team Determination, which is kind of a small branch of Team Courage, the bigger team that we are part of Summer. So there's so many new faces. I think everybody on here I do know, but the team is growing, and it's pretty amazing to see so many new faces on the team page, and I'm really excited and feel really blessed to get to know everybody individually. So a couple housekeeping things, and then we will let Katie kind of take the reins for the night. So a couple things are on Super Saturday is April 2nd. Super Saturday, for anybody that hasn't been, is basically a live beach body event. There's one in Columbus. They're all over the country. So anybody that doesn't live locally, we can find one for you. Sometimes you might have to drive an hour or something, but they're definitely worth getting to. They're only a couple hours long, but some awesome stories, transformation stories, some very cool learning tips that you guys can pick up from those. The one here in Columbus is from 11 to 2 on April 2nd. And we are planning on, I know our upline diamond coach, Christy, is renting the church out for a couple hours after that for some more training with Summer and Chad and some other coaches on the team. So that is also going to be happening after that. So if anybody wants to make the drive to Columbus, that would be awesome. We will put some hotel accommodations together or get people, house somewhere. So that would be really cool if anybody could just let me know or your coach know, and we'll get you hooked up, okay? But tickets have not been released yet or anything, so just keep an eye out on the team page. Other thing is Google Drive. I'll post a link in the comments. I'm still working on getting it all together, but I know some of you have access, some of you don't have access to it. I want to make sure that everybody does. It's got a lot of the scripts that we use, the invite scripts, coach invite scripts, just different tools that we use, so you're not really reinventing the wheel. So you'll hear probably your coach or myself refer to that a lot. So again, I will post that, and then basically what happens is once you link into that, it should save to if you have a Google account. If you don't, go ahead and set up a Gmail account. But once you click on it and link to it, you will always have access to that. And then also there's a Google Calendar that I make for the team every month, so you will be able to go there and also refer to what's going on with the team, when is our next coaching sneak peek, what's our next challenge group, and all that kind of stuff. Coach Essentials, you will also see this in the Google Drive. What this is basically, Summer put together all the tools from Everything with Heart. If you haven't checked out Everything with Heart, it's a website, Team Courage website. The website is everythingwithheart.com, and then the password is why not me 1, and then you have to hit submit. You can't hit enter or you won't be able to get on. I've done that multiple times and it gets frustrating, so you have to hit submit. But there's lots and lots of coach tools there. You can find meal plans there, so if you have somebody that needs vegan or gluten, that's all in there. New coach trainings in there, so if you want to go back and you need to review anything, that's in there. It takes you day-by-day training. There's coach transformations on there, so if you want to put, these are ones from our team that you can put on your pages to get out, some different transformations out there if you're not comfortable putting yourself out there yet. So lots and lots of great tools on there. There's social media tips and tools on there, so definitely check that out if you haven't yet. But the Coach Essentials is basically, Summer tried to put everything into one thing so you weren't having to it was a little bit easier to find things. So definitely check that out if you guys haven't seen that when you get access to it. The national conference is in July. It is called Beachbody Summit. It's in Nashville. So we can talk more on this. Some new coaches might not be too aware of this yet. But it's amazing. I went for my first time last year, and some other coaches, Christy went. I know some other people are on the wait list to go this year, but if you're a new coach, you can earn a ticket for free, which is definitely an incredible way to do it. basically real quick, you just have to get hit Success Club 5 your first 3 months as a coach. So not calendar months, just from the date that you sign up, rolling 3 months. And we can talk more on that. But definitely if you're interested, we can get you on the wait list because it is full as of now, but spots are starting to open up. We do have a page that we're dedicated to this because we're trying to work on getting some housing available for the team so we can all stay together. But again, it's a live event. You can work out with the trainers, Autumn, Tony, Fagi, any of them. Really, really awesome event. I hope you guys can go to. We're going to do a Zoom call with new coaches next week on Thursday night again, same time at 9 o'clock. This will be open to anybody on the team though, but we just want to give everybody a chance to ask some questions and really just do like a get started right call on how to, you guys are, I'm sure you're very overwhelmed. I know when I first started, I was very overwhelmed. There's all these things being thrown at you. And so this will give you a few minutes. You can ask myself and some other coaches on the team some questions that you might be thinking of. So definitely be thinking of those for next week. We'll do same time at 9 o'clock on Thursday night. And then what we can do is, we'll go over some of the basics, like where people should be at and where the focus should be at, and really try and simplify things because I know it does get a little bit overwhelming for everybody. So. And then I just wanted to see how everybody was doing, liking what your thoughts are on the Finish Line Leaders app. This is a new thing. So for those of you that are new to the team, this is something new. We used to do a 7-day coach training, which was videos and that kind of thing. And then myself and some other people on the team, we have a mentor of John Maxwell, and this was put together by them, and they've allowed us access to this. So it's really been something that I have found useful. There's some new tips and tools that I have learned. The videos I think are really amazing. I know it's kind of a lot, but do a couple of days. If you can't do one every day, that's okay. If you get a day or two behind, then just catch up one day because they're really not that long. So has everybody been able to get on there? They think it's pretty cool. You guys learning some new stuff? Yeah.
Question.
Okay. Good.
Does anybody else have a problem?
And then the new thing that came out, I don't know, we haven't really talked too much about this, but I was just checking, it just came out today, is the challenge group tracker app. Did you guys check your back office today or hear anything about that coming out at all? Okay. So this was actually talked about at Summit, that they were doing this. It's basically no Facebook for challenge groups. So what it does is Beachbody has came up with their own app, and it's called My Challenge Tracker. So you can download it now. And what it is there's FAQs and stuff. So I can link that I'll put it in a comment, or I'll post it on the team page, because there's lots and lots of FAQs and stuff. And there's 2 videos. There's one there's a coach portal, and then there's the challenger portal. So what happens is you'll go ahead, and the only thing that I see as of right now, which it sounds like they're working on, is there's only 1 coach per challenge group. So and how people get into these challenge groups is it's a name and an email. So basically it would be like one coach would set it up, and then we'd get a name and email, and everybody would get like this an email, here's how you download this tracker app. And then they would get it on there, and basically they just log in with their Beachbody account, and then they're in the group. And what happens, it's very similar now, like we can post content. They can get notifications of, you didn't drink your shake today, make sure you drink that, and then they can like log that off. And doing their workouts, anything like that, they can actually on there, when they do their workout, they can you can set it so, like, say you're doing just a 21-day fixed group, that it would only be those workouts, but you can leave it open to everything so people can actually track what workout they did. And then they can do in comments like additional workouts or anything that they did. Any goals, they can post those. They can post pictures. You can post like videos. You can tag people by doing like the little @ and everything. As coaches, something that's really nice that I saw too was that you can message people. Basically, it's kind of like, looks almost like the Messenger, where you can go in and like click on their names, and you can track like their progress, what they've done, if they've been when their most recent activity was, how they've been doing it, drinking their Shakeology every day, and then you can kind of like click the button, and then what happens is it'll you can send messages to multiple people, like one person, but it looks like a private message to each person. So even if it is a group, it does look like a private message. So I thought that was really cool. So I think it's going to be really awesome. It's supposed to, I mean, I guess it's live now, but I don't want to roll it out to the groups this month, because I think we should kind of get a handle on it, kind of work out any of the kinks and all that stuff. So my thought is rolling out next week. I can open it up. We will do our challenge groups. I know we have 3 different groups that we're running, but what we can do is like one app, one challenge group app for coaches, and we can just roll with it and see what happens. You guys think that's a good idea? That way we can, play around with it. We can see what we like about it, what we want to change, and just kind of get comfortable with it too. So I think what we'll do is we'll start that. I can get that opened up this weekend. And then they did say that like if people don't get an email and stuff, you can go back in the coach portal, and you can look and like resend it to people. And so it sounds like they've really done a really good job with it. And as with everything in media or technology, I'm sure there'll be some kinks that we need to get worked out. But so that's where we're going with things. And I think it's really good, because I know all of us have found people that don't like Facebook. They will never get on Facebook. And so this is a really good tool to have. And you can also do multiple groups. So don't worry about that. We can still have, multiple groups that everybody's in. Does anybody have any questions so far? No? Okay. And then I had this other great idea. So it's really not that. I mean, so Success Club, we don't like the name of that, not very many of us do. And so I was reading The Carpenter, and he talks a lot about love, serve, and caring is like his recipe for success. And so I thought we could call it the Love, Serve, and Care Club. I thought that was pretty appropriate. I liked it. I'm like, that's what it's all about, right? Loving, serving, and caring about people, right? So that is really all the announcements that I have. Does anybody have any questions? LSC, yeah, very good. And if you don't know, like down in the little chat, you guys have a lot of these down here. You can you can type stuff too. So if anybody, you can unmute yourself too. You guys don't have to stay muted either. So, so what we will do is we'll open it up to Katie. Katie has been rocking it the past couple months and really been diving in she hit Success Club 10 last month. Her why has changed, her vision has changed, and she's really kind of got her blinders on and really focusing on what she wants out of this business. And just the energy and her excitement is absolutely amazing. And, I just wanted it to trickle down into everybody, and everybody wanted her to share some tips with everybody. I think it's always nice to hear from other people on what they're doing to get some new ideas. So, Katie, if you want to, you are unmuted. Okay.
Yeah, I am. Well, okay, for those of you that don't know me,
I can't hear you. Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Can you guys hear her?
Can you guys hear me?
It's me. Okay, let me turn mine up.
Are you there?
We can hear you.
Okay, just checking.
Oh, that's because I got my mute on.
You have technology issues. Okay, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Katie. I started coaching in September sometime. I don't actually know the exact day. I should probably go back and look. It took Nan a few months to convince me that I should do this, and I really took some time to think about it and decide what I wanted to do. But backstory, I had been a teacher and lost my job when my daughter was 16 months old, and at the time decided to stay home. And I always knew I wanted to do something else when my kids were school aged, and I didn't need to be with them all day anymore, but I didn't know what. I actually let my teaching license expire, and then I just figured the right opportunity would present itself when I was ready. And so then Nan starts talking to me about coaching. I'm like, am I ready? I'm not so sure. So I thought about it some more, and I had some very well-placed people in my life encourage me to give it a try. So I did, and I didn't feel successful at all the first couple of months. I listened to everything everyone had to say, but I just didn't feel like I was reaching enough people, and I just kept showing up for the calls, and I kept listening, and I kept doing what everyone suggested, and still no real bites. And people would write back and be like, yeah, thanks anyway, or all of my messages were ignored for like one whole week. No one responded to me at all for any of my invites. So December rolls around, and we did the coaching test group. So that was the first time I actually had followed a program all the way through. And that made a difference for me just in my journey. And I think in a lot of ways that made a difference for me in what I could share with other people. And I still didn't feel like I was doing a good job, but I kept reading the professional development, and I kept listening to all the calls over and over. I have gone back and listened. I've listened to Summer Talk almost every day. And I kept posting. Everyone said, just post on Facebook, tell your story. So I just kept doing it. And then all of a sudden, the first week in January, and I didn't have enough time to follow up with all of the people that wanted my attention and needed me to follow up with them and needed a challenge pack. And I really didn't have an aha moment, to be honest. I kind of was waiting for one. I mean, in December, I was like, well, I said I would give it a year, so I'll keep plugging on, but I don't see this going anywhere. And so at that point, I was, September, almost 4 months in, and I was like, I don't like this. I'm not good at this, but I'll just keep trying. And it worked. And I think now looking back at that, I mean, that was only last month, but then I feel like maybe in a way, all of those people reaching out to me sort of was my aha moment, realizing that everything I had been doing was working. It just took a little bit longer. I heard once when you first get started that you have a hot market of like friends and family that all want to jump on. That didn't happen for me. So I was wondering how it was all going to work out. So I at first was really good about the power hour every day, an hour. My boys were still napping every day. Well, now they're not napping. So my time has been a little chaotic. So lately it's been just a lot of mom cracks. I'm doing it here and I'm doing it there, and I'm doing way more than an hour a day. And that's just something I've chosen to do because I want this to move faster. And that's what's best for me, and it's not always what's best for everybody. So I'm spending a lot of time on it. The biggest thing for me, the biggest thing that I've taken away from listening, I mean, I'm serious. I'm listening to Summer do a webinar almost every day. Like I'm just all the time listening to what she has to say. And after you listen to it enough, I think it starts to like be part of you. But the biggest thing I think I've taken away from all of this is to be teachable, and we have some like really amazing coaches on Summer's team that like are pretty amazing, and they have really great examples of what to do and how to answer people and how to respond. So I became friends with a bunch of those coaches that I met at Super Saturday on Facebook, and I just started watching everything they were doing and watching their posts. Anytime they have a post that I thought was incredible, I was taking a screenshot of it on my phone and I'm saving it to a special Google Drive on my thing so I can like look back to that later for ideas for me to post, not copy their posts, but use their ideas. So the biggest thing I think is to be teachable, and the personal development really helps. The national wake-up calls have always kind of got me excited and given me lots of ideas. The biggest thing I have found interesting in all of the stuff that's been taught to me is the social media stuff, and I've paid a lot of attention to that, and then I've gone and done some reading on my own about how to market on social media and how it works. And if you haven't listened to any of those webinars where Summer, and she has somebody on her team that has done actual Facebook training. I'm not sure who it is anymore, but Do you know who it is, Nan?
Is it Jatana Jackson or Jessica Rodriguez?
Yes, yes. And I mean, I could listen to them talk for hours. I mean, they really have a lot. I had no idea 6 months ago, I had no idea that you could actually analyze Facebook and make it work to your advantage. I had no idea. So, I started listening, like they say, post 3 to 5 times a day. I'm like, all right, I'll post 3 to 5 times a day. But I definitely think at first I was awkward and I didn't like the way I worded things, and it took a while for me to find my online voice, I think, for me to figure out who I wanted to be to other people, and not be someone else. And so I got the buckets worksheet, and I started, if you haven't done the buckets worksheet yet, you should. And you should use that to go through your posts all the time. I try to audit my own Facebook wall every day. I go and okay, what are my top 5, top 10 posts? What have I done too much of in the last 10 posts? What have I not done enough of in the last 10 posts? And that gives me an idea of I already know what I want to say tomorrow morning, because I looked tonight what I've posted and what I haven't posted lately. So I'm constantly looking at my wall and seeing what I have done and what I haven't done. So that's a big thing that they talk about a lot. Another big thing that I took away was no whining and no complaining, and turning your complaints into something else. I'm reading the no complaining rule right now, and they say that even if you have a complaint, you say, well, I had a terrible day, but, and then you turn it into something that's motivational or something that's inspiring, or you make a joke of it, like my squash that exploded in my microwave yesterday. For those of you that didn't see that picture, I had a spaghetti squash explode all over my kitchen. It was so fun. But I mean, I could have made it awful. Yeah, I had to go to ballet and I had to make dinner, and instead I made it I made it a joke, and I laughed at myself, and I think a lot of people laughed with me. And then for those of you that haven't seen the social or the Facebook marketing stuff, when people comment on your posts and then you comment back to them, you now have a dialogue with them. So Facebook now has this pin, or this, they attach you to that person. So that person is more likely to then see your posts. And then the more likes you get, the more people Facebook is going to show your posts to. So so you really, and there's a certain number, and I don't remember what the number is, but there's a certain number of likes you have to have within the first hour. And then Facebook pretty much just dumps your post. They're like, nobody wants to see it. And they quit showing it to even your friends or your family. I have things that I posted that my mom never saw. So it's kind of complicated. You have to post at the right time for the people that, are following you. So it helps to post things that are funny, like my squash exploding in my microwave, because people that wouldn't normally comment on my workout posts or my food posts commented on that, and they liked it. And one thing I've learned from Nan is that when people comment on her post, she goes back usually during the next Facebook prime time. So there are prime times, so she goes back during the next one and she comments every single person. I never used to understand why you did that. But she comments every person, and not only does she comment, a lot of times she'll ask a question to that comment in hopes that person then comments back. And that, again, Facebook is now like, okay, so you guys are friends, we're going to show your posts more. So in any case, I think that's the biggest tool we have, is knowing how Facebook works and knowing how and when to market yourself, and knowing how, I have a collection of people that always comment and always like my stuff. But then I have, 700 other friends that never say anything. So in order to reach the most number of people, sometimes you have to do something that's different. Intriguing to me, and I've spent a lot of time learning about it. And another big thing I've been doing is messaging and it's been somewhat exhausting, but I've been doing it anyway, and it's working. I'm messaging people like crazy, but I'm not inviting them. If somebody has a birthday or a wedding, or they get engaged, or their kid was sick, I mean, just anything on their wall that I noticed that I wanted to ask a question about, or whatever, instead of asking it to them on their post, I'm sending them a message to do it, because then we have a dialogue open. I'll talk to them back and forth for a day or so about that topic, and then I let it sit, and I don't say anything to them for about a week. And then I'll go back a week later and say, hey, so, we were talking last week, and I got to thinking about you. I didn't know if you'd be interested. And the messaging has really paid off. It has been a lot of work. And before I message somebody, I'm reading their walls. And I'm making sure that I know what's going on in their life, or I have their kid's name spelled right, or whatever it is. So I really think that that has helped me a lot, get people to trust me a little bit more. I know there's one person that I invited last fall twice, and they never wrote back. She just completely ignored me. And then she went to see Mary Poppins in January, and I wrote to her and I'm like, oh, what did you think of the show? I love that show. And she wrote back, and we wrote back and forth. And then I invited her last week, and she's in my challenge on Monday. So I think that gave her, I don't know. I don't know if it made her feel more comfortable with me, or if it made her feel more like I cared. I hope that's what happened. But in any case, she finally agreed to it after months of ignoring me. So that worked a lot. Again, I really feel like the biggest aha moment for me has just been listening to Summer talk. I mean, she really knows her stuff, and she has a lot of great ideas. I listened to her do a webinar last week. I don't think it would happen last week. I don't know when it happened. Sorry. I listened to recordings. What did she say? She said she's talking a lot about assumptive closings, like when you're trying to get people to commit to something, to say something like, I'd like to be a part of your support system. How can I help you put your fears aside and do this? Like, what can I do to help? Or like, how can I serve you? Another thing she said was, I'm ready to get you back to where you feel amazing again. Are you ready? And so anyway, she talked probably for 20 minutes about assumptive closing, instead of saying like, well, if you're ready, say like, okay, let's do this. And it's more like assuming they're going to join you. And I felt like that's kind of worked a little bit too. It depends on the person. But I definitely feel like asking people how you can serve them, and meeting them where they're at. And I actually have a story to kind of go with that. 2 months before Nan invited me to my first challenge, a friend from high school who is a Beachbody coach invited me to a free 5-day crockpot challenge. And I did it. I really just wanted the recipes. I didn't plug in. I was one of those people. And I got the recipes and I left. And then she sent me an invite. And the very first invite she sent me was, however long. And it was, you have to pay $140 and you have to do this and you have to do this. And it's like, well, time out. I'm moving. I don't want to spend what am I spending $140 on? Like, what? How do I know this works? What is this? And so I said, no, are you kidding? I'm not spending that money. And I actually told my husband at the time, I was like, who does that? So go figure. She never was in my life, and she still isn't. She actually invited me again last September, right after I had signed up to be a coach. I'm like, yeah, you didn't see on my wall, I'm a coach now. So she really doesn't pay attention to my life at all, because I had posted, it was literally a week after I signed up to be a coach. And I said something on my wall, like, yay, I'm so excited. I can't wait for this opportunity. I mean, it was there. So she obviously wasn't doing the things that you should be doing to know the people you're trying to invite. And I didn't know it at the time when she was sending me these invites. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. But now looking back at it, I can tell you that for a fact that, like, she doesn't like my posts. She doesn't comment on my posts. She's never tried to know who I am or know what my goals were or meet me where I was at, all of the things that we're taught to do on this team, she absolutely never did with me. And I didn't say yes because I was like, you want me to do what? Spend $140? I didn't even know what I was spending money on. Like I didn't even know. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I mean, she has a really successful team. I know she does a really good job, but for me, I don't feel like she did. So I think I've taken a lesson in that, and I don't want to be like that. I think I probably was the first 6 or 8 weeks, and I wish I could go back and change some of those invites that I did, but that's how we learn. So, so I think that's kind of where I came from, and I knew I didn't want to be like that. And you know, I mean, you can't go back and change them. Thankfully, some of the people I sent really awkward invites to have agreed to join me at this point, so it's working out now in my favor. But yeah, we all start at a really weird place, and we have to take time to get to know who we are. And another thing I really tried to do is be real. Sometimes that's hard on Facebook because it's really easy to paint a perfect picture of yourself, and it's really easy to do the picture collages and the cool backgrounds and all the stuff that we do with our pictures to make them look cool. And it would be really easy to fall into the trap, I think, of doing that every single time. So I've tried to be more real, like post pictures every now and then that aren't edited, and post, you know, my kids throwing a tantrum because whatever happened. But I think that makes people more relatable. I think it makes me more relatable. And I think since I've been making a specific effort in the last 6 to 8 weeks to be more real and share more struggles. And I've noticed that people who have more struggles in their life are paying more attention. And I think that has been something I have been trying to do. And to be honest, my Nan asked me to do this, like, last week? I said, really? Seriously? I don't feel like I know what I'm doing. I feel like I've listened a lot, and I feel like I've learned a lot. I don't feel like I'm perfect at applying those things, and I don't know if I ever will be. But I know every time I read my personal development, I know I get ideas for who I want to be and how I want to be. And I know every time I listen to Summer, I'm like, God, that's a good idea. Okay. And I feel like I need to just re-listen to her. Thankfully, she pretty much repeats herself all the time. So if you missed it last week, you'll get it again next week and the week after that. But I think that's kind of useful to hear it again and again because there's so much information. And yeah, but if you're missing those Tuesday night calls, at least listen to the recordings because she's perfected this and she knows what she's doing, and we can all continue to learn from her, I think. So I think my biggest advice for the newest coaches would be to be teachable. If somebody says post on Facebook 3 to 5 times a day, just do it. It's just do it. It might not pay off for 4 or 5 months, but it does. And people start following you. I had Nan ask me in January, she's like, so what are you doing to sell all these challenge packs? I'm like, I don't know. Because the truth is I didn't know. Every single challenge pack I sold in January were people that came to me. Not a single one of them was an invite I sent, which made me feel slightly frustrated over my invites. But they were all people that had been following me. And they're like, okay, so I've been watching and I think I need to do what you're doing. Not a single one was somebody I invited. They were all people, and not any of them were people that commented or liked on my posts. All of them were just people who were silently following. So even if nobody likes your post and nobody comments, they're watching. And I think that would be the biggest advice I would give to somebody who's new is just be yourself. People are watching whether you know it or not. And I think I learned that last month. That's what everybody said. Everybody told me they're watching. I was like, okay, sure they are. But they were, and they all jumped in January and made me feel really overwhelmed for about a week and a half. But it worked. So Nan says 1 to 2 times a day is okay to post. I think somebody on a call last week said 3 to 5. I don't remember who it was. But optimal times, I saw somebody ask that. First thing in the morning, I've noticed that if I post before 6 a.m., I don't get a lot of traction, but posts around 6:30 seem to get more traction. For the people that follow me, you kind of have to test out who it is that you know and who's following you. I have a lot of friends who are stay-at-home moms and getting their kids to the bus stops, and 6:30 seems to be the time between 6:30 and 7:30 where they're all checking it. Another big time is lunchtime. I feel like a lot of people, I feel like a lot of my friends seem to check at lunch. My friends that are working all tend to comment around lunchtime. My stay-at-home mom friends, it's